This is Texas Department of Criminal Justice. It was 2013. And again, looking at, what is possible. Hang on. There we go. What is possible with a book club model? So far we've talked about book club models with classes and in our groups. But now we're going to look at the prison system itself, and the way it was brought in was through the chaplain. Chaplain Letty Watkins was the one who said, "Hey, let's try this with our guys." And again, you're walking in with a book titled "What I Learned About Life When My Husband Was Fired." And it looks like this. This is the book. So it's not a small pamphlet, but because of the way it's written in conversation style, text messages, emails. So one of the points that they discovered is that natural conversation dialogue, it made it a friendly way to introduce these concepts. It was real life. It was something that they could relate to. Who doesn't struggle with decision making? Who hasn't had the experience of not having enough? And maybe you would have if you hadn't bought that third Starbucks coffee that day. Um, Starbucks and I have a very interesting past relationship. I will remind me at the end, I will tell you exactly how much money I spent on Starbucks one month. See if you can think about what you think, how much money I spent one month. It kept me from paying my rent, by the way. Let me continue. So, one of the other things with this particular experience we found is that it showed how families need to work with each other. You have two sisters. Two sisters. One could have told the other one, well, too bad, too sad. Sorry, your husband got fired. Better luck next time. Or, she could have just said, hey, well, here's some money. I'll let you borrow it. Figure, no, the way that she works with her sister to help her take control of her life is very different. But again, family dynamics. Many people that we've worked with, myself included, families don't always get along together. They don't always support each other. So looking at, wow, this is a way to support each other. What they did was they called it a reading circle. They worked 2 to 3 chapters a week. They reviewed previous discussions. They broke out in small groups. They discussed the chapters. And the person from each group would share how they would apply what was learned about in that particular chapter. So there was a connectedness between real life. At the end of this particular experience, they found, again, looking at a survey, 95% said they would recommend or share the book with others. They would share it with their children. 98%, they said they would share it with their brothers and sisters, their significant others. 95%, 88% sharing with their parents, 95% with their friends. And one of the quotes, and this is from when they extended it to the women's unit. She said, I'm going to teach my grandchildren about tomorrow, not just today, to worry about tomorrow also. There is a tomorrow, money wise. Think about it. Don't be like me. I don't want you to be stuck like me, like what I went through. I thought I was doing the right thing, being real cool, being somebody. I was a nobody. I want them to know there's a life out there to live. I don't want them to live my life. I don't want them to know this place. So starting to make those connections and seeing where we can break cycles, that's empowerment. The second case study here, Houston Money Week. I mentioned that was a group that I was able to, that I helped form a few years ago. And we had a partnership with Stellar Bank. If you are interested in starting a book club, and it doesn't matter which books you use, we struggle with budgets. I like budget-friendly things and budget-friendly institutions. Well, the banks are required to invest in their communities, not just with financial education, but they do have money set aside to support financial education through schools and education facilities, nonprofits. Talk to your bank partners. Ask them, invite them to be a partner in your financial education. Yes, ma'am.
Is this something like we need to write a grant for, or is it just like a conversation? Like,
Get to know your vice president of community relations. That's the person you want to talk to. Their reinvestment funds. There's something called the Reinvestment Act. And in order for financial institutions to meet the requirements of their auditors and the FDIC insurance that they keep, they must support the communities where they have businesses. Don't let them just sell you on a financial education class. There's monies, there's like, well, in our financial education class, we actually want a book club. Would you sponsor the books for this club? And you can come be the expert on the topics that are mentioned in the book. Now you have a sellable case. Start with the institutions you do business with first, the ones that already support your cause, but then again, go out to your communities. See what banks are around. Go visit them and visit those community relations folks. We got together. I was able to get my partner Stellar Bank. They sponsored a book club. We went for 15 book clubs in the city of Houston. There's 150 readers. That was 10 copies of the book. That included one for the lead and one book club approach guide, which was this one here. And this is one of the reasons why I did really like using these particular materials, because it came with so much to help you do that particular model. So these are the things that we got sponsored by Stellar Bank, and we were able, hey, good morning. And we were able to do some surveys with them. These are some of the outcomes. Confidence and mindset shift. The participants reported increased confidence, more self-compassion, willingness to take actions, and openness for asking for help. Behavior change intentions. Learners identified specific steps, including creating budgets, tracking spending, starting emergency funds. That was a big one. Paying bills on time, talking to partners and family about money, and using community resources. Literacy gains, that's especially important for us in our field. If you're doing these models, these guys that participated in this particular cohort reported increased reading confidence, ability to understand complex ideas through storytelling, greater willingness to read outside of class. Hi, Tina. And a preference for real life narratives over textbooks. They also had requests. They wanted more time, more hands-on activities. They wanted to increase the time with smaller chunks of reading, more discussion and integration into existing classes. They also asked both those that were in the virtual book clubs and the hybrid book clubs. They wanted, again, more time, more support, more continued sessions, and bringing in those experts. Remember, this is not about you being the expert. It's not about bringing in expert materials. It's an icebreaker. It's a way to get them interested so that you can then bring in those experts and you can share that experience. When we worked with a group at Nye House Education Center, we used something called Book Bites. And this is a QR code for this particular book bite. This is on the history of credit cards. And you can read an excerpt. The excerpt is provided to you. You can access that courtesy of our authors, Red and Black. And that's something that we used and were able to be able to start activities and discussions. So this is an example of using that particular book bite. Credit cards then versus now is a 5-minute activity. We had a prompt, 3 things that surprised you after reading that particular book bite about how credit cards started, and then 3 ways that credit cards are used today that are different from their original purpose. The goal was to help learners see, one, how credit cards evolved, and more importantly, how the way you use them can impact your life. And we had a guest that could come in, and that was our credit counselor. And I met, but wait, there's more. I'm going to do a stop share because we have our two guests. There's my alarm telling me that I have my two guests. I'm so happy to give you all a meet and greet. These are the authors of What I Learned About Life When My Husband Was Fired. We have Mandy Black Williams and Tina Red Pennington. Good morning, ladies. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for
Oh, thanks
having
for having.
us.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we've kind of touched bases on kind of some of the history, the book models, and working together a little bit of our history. They are intrigued about why racing is involved with this. Was this specially just for Indy? But also kind of looking at how you guys feel about something that you never intended for education, adult education and literacy, and how it's come together and your perspective. So, yes, ma'am.
I can hear the auditory
Okay.
on the recording, but there's suddenly no screen. It's a blank
Okay.
screen. So I don't know if there's something someone
Someone said
knows
that.
about, but you can still hear.
Okay, so we're still hearing. That's a good thing. All right. If there's a techie person out there, would you see perhaps assistant? And we're just going to continue. Those of you who are on, if you can hear, that's a good thing. We're going to keep the show going for our time. But the question, and I'll let you guys start and introduce yourselves, Mandy or Tina, whoever wants to start out.
I'll go first. So I am Red, from Red and Black. And I know Jackie's probably already told you about our backstory and some of that. But essentially I had a crisis at the age of 40 and was totally clueless. But I was a straight A student, went to a great university, and I just turned to my sister Black, who you'll hear from in a minute, and she has an MBA, and just help. And she was just going to put my life together in a weekend. And instead, she decided it was time for me to grow up and to learn all these things. Well, fast forward, when Jackie speaks of us and how she uses our book and things in the adult education world, I find it, besides extraordinary, I find it highly ironic because I was a 40-plus-year-old woman with a great university education who was pretty clueless. Yet at the same time, I learned that anybody can learn about these things. You're never too old. And that often your biggest roadblock is find a mirror, it's yourself. And in the hands of Jackie, how she so creatively uses my crisis and the book that came out of it is nothing short of amazing. And I have a habit of blah, blah, blah. So I'm just going to turn it over to my sister Black.
And I will say the book was intended as the basis of a sitcom. So it is not a serious textbook by a long shot. And what we found is it generates conversation and it doesn't require experts, if you will. In fact, when you use it as a financial literacy textbook, we strongly recommend against having, financial experts because they get all wrapped up and love the jargon. And so it's just a matter of people learning to talk about topics that maybe they never talked about before. And we all tend to learn together versus somebody's being, a talking head in the front of the room. Sorry, Jackie, because I know you've probably been standing in front of the room all morning. So
Guilty.
She's great.
Thank you. Any questions? We've got authors.
Yes.
And I turned my sister's life, her
Yes.
crisis, into a book, so anything's fair game.
Like just about anything, really, not just saying that.
Jackie talked about breaking the ice right away, and how important is that to also have a book that's not your strict financial textbook because of we all know the visceral shame of being either broke or not having savings. We've all been there. So thank you.
You're welcome. And I'm going to throw myself under the bus on this one. So I've got an undergraduate degree in economics and a master's in international finance from NYU and London Business School. And I was nearly had to file for bankruptcy because I took my life and siloed it. Things I knew were important financially for a company, I never applied to me personally. And I think we all tend to silo our lives at times, and there are things we do and we're very conscious of in the workplace or at home, and we don't realize all these skills are transferable between the two. So there's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
And thank you for mentioning that about the book. But as Black said earlier, the last thing, truly beyond last, if there's such a thing as being beyond last, we ever thought was that this book was going to become a textbook. And that all happened when we were asked to sort of teach personal finance at Houston High School. And make a really long story short, Black takes her corporate experience. We pulled together 8 to 10, students who want to help participate, and they start reading the book. We only assigned them little segments, and they came back the second week, and some of them had read the entire book, and they were the ones who told us it was a reality show in a book, which kind of points to, well, yeah, because this wasn't written as a personal finance book. It was written as, oh, Hollywood producer, go make a sitcom, make it really successful. But in terms of its ability, because of that, to really kind of hit home and let people of all ages and demographics and education levels to sort of see themselves in it. And not only to see themselves in it, but as one of the students came up to me one day and said, Red, I really like you, blah, 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 blah. But bottom line, I don't want to be you when I grow up. So they saw how the path I took could be avoided, or if not avoided, I learned at 40 plus. It's all a happy accident. And again, Jackie's just taken it in ways we never could have possibly have dreamed. So.
Thank you. Thanks, guys, so much. Mainly, we have instructors here. We have people that are looking for great resources. And I know you guys, mentioned KIPP. We went through, Mount Ararat, the Houston City College with the welding students, the animation series. And of course, we're in Indianapolis. And so, we've got these little car theme things going on and stuff. We help draw some connections between education, the racetrack, and you guys. Help us connect some dots here.
Okay, well, I'm going to jump in here because my sister didn't know the difference between a wheel and a tire. And since I was the first woman to race that road course there at Indy, I mean, one of the things you learn when you race, first of all, is you're always keeping your eyes up and you're looking down the road. And so I think that's one of the big things is you want to look at where you want to go more so than where you are. Where you are is a starting point. The other thing is when you race, you go around the track and you don't get every corner perfectly the first time. You don't get every corner perfectly anytime. I mean, there's always going to be something that happens. There's going to be somebody who gets in your way. I mean, because the perfect line is with nobody in your way. Well, that's not how it works in life, or obviously on a racetrack. And so, but what you do is you learn every time you go around, and you don't make the same mistakes twice. You may make new mistakes, but you don't make the same mistakes twice. And I think the key takeaway I would have is to finish first you have to finish is an axiom that all racers say, meaning, you can't crash out in the middle of a race. And I would want to take it a step further and say, to finish, you first have to start. And so when it comes to educating adult and educating anybody of any age, is I feel like the instructors are the ones that are there to help them get started and to help them get around the track better each time. And you're part of a team. And when I race, it's not just me and a car. I mean, there's everybody who got the transport, who got the car there, the coaches, the crew that keep the car running. And you're part of that team, even though, people may not look at you as part of this team, but you are. And never forget that.
Yeah, and I'm just going to actually chime in there, because as the person who was in that car, if you would, I don't know what I would have done. Sorry, warm and fuzzy alert, which I know my sister hates, but I don't know what I would have done if I didn't have my sister at that time. And that's not dissimilar to all of the students who will come across your path. They may not even realize how much they need you. I never realized how much I needed my sister. And sometimes it's beyond just giving me the perfect advice or giving me the perfect lesson. It's just knowing there's somebody there for you. And that can make a huge difference, both within the education world and without. So.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for taking the time this morning. Is there anyone that had any comments or questions? If anybody in the chat?
I have a comment. I formerly worked in a college and we would have financial literacy events and we would try to do financial feud, family feud, to try and make it games, especially since COVID, that everybody likes board games and kind of had a return to that. And we found that the financial feud had really brought the students out of the woodworks. And even things like some of the terminology, and I regret that there's such a varied terminology specifically to finance. So I am looking so forward to reading your book. My children are 23 and 25, and I'm just ready to go buy my copy. Forget the library because I like reading things and putting in sticky notes and references. So I'm excited because what I found with the college students was until it becomes your problem, like it became your problem, then they have no interest. And like y'all, I saw students from low financial backgrounds to high financial backgrounds, but they were not taught by their family how to coordinate funds and those quick pay places, how much money they lose by getting that pay in hand that moment. And it's astonishing what they don't know about credit cards and interest rates. And it's like, guys, you got to know this. And it's the number one thing students complain about upon graduating college, when they look at those school loans, when they are trying to budget, but they don't take the time during college because it's not a problem yet. Get them out and make it fun so that they'll maybe miss some of these pitfalls.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, ladies.
Well, and I'll just chime in that the number one cause of divorce is typically financial issues.
Yeah.
And people don't learn how to talk about it.
Yeah.
And compare notes, or they argue about things, or they don't know somebody has a secret, spending problem or a secret bank account. And so it's a problem that crosses all socioeconomic strata, and we don't teach it. And that's actually, that was one of the issues that I pointed out that detoured us into the criminal justice world was, that a lot of individuals, if they'd been taught, and we were hearing this from inside, if they'd been taught these basics, it would have changed the trajectory of their life. They didn't realize how their values should drive their spending. We're all bombarded by what will make us happy, because that's what the advertisers and marketers tell us. If you buy this, you will be happy. If you have a clean toilet bowl, you'll be happy because that's what that person doing the scrubbing of the toilet bowl, they're smiling. So, sorry, it's just, we're convinced of things and we don't stop and think, and we are now bombarded by sound bites. So all we tried to do is, it wasn't intended as a book. It was intended as a sitcom. And so that they were more curious what was going to happen to the characters. And in trying to figure out what was going to happen to the characters, they picked up on some of what ultimately became life lessons that Red and I were sharing.
Yeah. And what struck us the most, and then that was reinforced by what Jackie has done with the book, the materials, whatever, is the power of a story. And, when generally, because this happened, just so to tell you a story. So the college age of a daughter of a friend of mine, we're sitting on the volleyball bleachers. This goes back a few years. And at this point, she had graduated from university and she's reading the book, and we got into this whole conversation. And what it's centered on is she goes, I actually took that class, that welcome to, blah, blah. And it's some, class and personal life. But it's it's facts, it's figures, and it's do this, don't do that. She goes, see, you might learn it, but it doesn't stick, it doesn't resonate. She goes, but it's reading a story. Oh my gosh, it was like what that KIPP student said to me, I don't want to be you. It's seeing the impact through something relatable, through a story. And I think anytime you can do that, whether it's using our book, whether it's in any way in your life, and especially I think with adult education, where you can relate it to somebody's experience, to a story, it becomes real, it becomes tangible, if you would. So I could go on, I won't.
That's actually a perfect setup for my afternoon session, everyone, on communication, FYI. Thank you, shameless plug.
I didn't know that. That was just genuinely what I was wanting to say.
Guys, thank you so much for joining us. I know this became a surprise pop in for all of you that chose to be in this session, and they're an hour behind us, so thank you for getting up.
I've been up for hours, so.
Oh, please. This is Black's middle of the day. You must be joking.
Not a problem.
And Red didn't get the dress code, white shirt, dark jacket, so.
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
No, you know, that's the uniqueness of being red. You're all right.
Yeah, I was gonna say I can't do anything about my hair, so my hair just blends into my jacket. So there you go.
Guys, a last slide, and this is exciting for me to announce, is because of uh, their passion and commitment to adult literacy, adult education. I'm going to be doing more work with Red and Black, and they're actually going to, they've built a portal that I can be part of to help promote the resources, to help provide different resources that you guys need. There are resources on there right now. If you sign up for the newsletters, the emails, you will get different types of materials that you can use in creative ways, again, budget friendly, but also gives you an opportunity to access some great developments that are coming. And especially now as I get to work closer with these ladies. And again, as I emphasized earlier, it doesn't matter which material you use, but you want a material that's more of an icebreaker, something that connects, makes the human factor, that pulls together every part of our literacy, that starts with the foundational core of reading, then integrating the other subject matter. And you guys, if there are no questions, we're good on the chat. We're good on time. Want to make sure, all right, we are in good places. Again, this is my information. You can get in touch with me. I'm great on LinkedIn. We've got Tina and Red. Check out their website, Black and Red Productions, and what I learned about life when my husband was fired. And thank you for spending time with me today. It's been my honor, my privilege. And as I continue to go, I will continue to share my experiences. And I hope you all have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Appreciate y'all.